Hey guys, Russ, Double R Restorations. Today is Friday. It's January 30th. Just got home from work here a little bit ago and out here in the garage trying to get some more prep work done to get this deck filler panel in the car. Just going ahead and trying to prep my spot welds and trying to plan as much as I can, trying to plan ahead as much as I can for when I get this thing welded to the car. Show you the car. I went ahead and sanded this with 180 in both sides of this area of the car. I can, when the panel is back on in the car here, I'll be able to paint that with spray gun. So I wanted to make sure I got all that sanded. After I weld the panel in, it'd be very hard to get my pawl back in there and get it done. It was hard enough as it was. Wound up in some of the areas just using a little stick here just to get back in there. I prepped most of my plug weld holes here with weld through primer, and same thing on the bottom of the panel. I've got weld through primer. This area here I'm gonna leave bare metal. I can get to that again with the spray gun once it's all welded in. And I'm gonna go ahead and put a couple right here for the quarters. And I've got them marked on the other side to tell me exactly where they're located at. So I'm gonna go ahead and at least get the underside prepped. And that way when I go to weld the quarters on, I'll have the weld through on the back side here. So a lot of guys, I know some guys just leave the epoxy, and I've tried it, and it just makes my welder act funny. It starts to spit and carry on, and then I get a little nervous myself thinking I'm not getting a good weld. But I want to say I did really enjoy Mr. Fireman's SPI epoxy torture test. That was very informative, and I really liked what he did with the welds as far as the plug welds on the next video. That has got a lot of hits on the SPI forum, that video, and it's a lot of people really like that test. So Mr. Fireman, thank you. As far as prepping the back side of these frame rails, I think in the previous video I showed you guys this spot blaster that I have, and I was going to try to use it. I'm not very impressed with this at all. It works okay, but if you're trying to blast upside down like this, it just don't want to work. Even if you fill the canister all the way up, let me turn the camera around here. The media comes out of the media reservoir and goes down into the gun right here. And even if I fill it all the way up the pressure, it just don't want to do anything. But come over here, and like if you're facing downward with it, it works perfect. You can see these circles that I did, but actually being inverted, a totally different story. So what I've been using for that is the roll lock right here. And I like having the different sizes. It allows you to get into different places. But I've also been using trusty old Dremel tool and that right there. So, and I've actually had to move it up just a little bit because even this thing is a little hard to get into certain places. But I'll show you underneath the panel what we got. That's about how I've removed it. I really wish that spot blaster would have worked, but it didn't. Not like that's the way it goes. I mean, you think you got a plan and you try it, and sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. You move on, find something that will work. So, like I said, we're working on getting this deck filler in. Once we get it welded, once I do a couple of these spot welds, I'll know if I got to remove any more of this epoxy. And then what I'll probably do is go ahead and sand this whole panel down while the trunk is out. It's just so much easier to get underneath the car here without the trunk pan in place, versus once this trunk pan is in the car, then I'm gonna be either laying on my back, or I can just tell you I'm gonna be uncomfortable trying to do it. I'm gonna be hating it at that point. But like I said, we just about got this thing ready. I've been going slow, just trying to think, make sure I'm not missing anything. This part over here probably will be replaced, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm gonna section this because I had to cut so much of it off, and I've got rust up in here. This one here, I'm gonna hopefully be able to reuse it. So I've got my weld through on the bottom here. I did get I went ahead and ordered me a piece of 20 gauge piece of sheet metal, and I got that for patches and everything. I got some scraps that I've cut off the car, but there's they got a lot of undercoating on them and everything, and it seems like I can spend, just like that old piece over there in the vise, I can spend a good 30 minutes trying to get that ready just to practice on setting up the welder or whatever. So I just finally got tired of that, so I just got me a small piece there, so it should help me in getting my welder set up. And I've got some patches that I've got to make, so it's going to come in handy for that. So, but anyway, I'll bring you guys back when we have some more progress. Hopefully this panel is going on the car for the last time, and we'll move on to the trunk. And so yeah, getting excited. So we'll talk to y'all later. Hey guys, this is Russ with Double R Restorations. I just thought I'd come on here and make a little quick video. I haven't been able to work on the car much, been kind of under the weather. You can probably tell it by my voice. But finally starting to feel better, and anxious to get out here and work in the garage a little bit. And I really wasn't feeling up to myself to actually start trying to put this pan in, but I did want to practice doing some more welding. I tell you, I don't weld every day, and if it's something you don't do every day, you kind of have to reteach yourself when you go back to it, just get the feel for it again. And I cut some scraps up here and been playing around with the welder tonight, and I'll show you what I've been doing. I've mainly just been practicing on plug welds. I've got these are 1/4 inch holes that I had drilled, and I had shot half of this with underneath here with one type of weld through primer, and I've shot the other half with another type that I have. Both of these, the Medallion RS512 and the Sims copper weld. I really didn't see any difference. I actually cleaned the holes out with my awl before I started welding. I will say that the Sims copper weld's a little bit thicker than the Medallion. I like that Medallion, though. It's probably my favorite, but as far as welding, I really couldn't tell no difference. But I went ahead and welded this up, just practicing with the settings of the welder, and then I went ahead and just covered it with that Medallion. I'm gonna let it sit outside for a little while and just see what it does, how long it takes to start rusting and stuff. Now when you're doing plug welds, I know some people they'll start on the very outside of the hole, and then it brings the base metal up, and then you can drop it down into the hole and circle around. And you can tell on the ones that I did that in, you can see how it's got that little piece on the end of it. But now I know some guys just start in the center and swirl it around, and like that one, that's what I did there. And you can see it actually makes a probably, as far as looks go, it actually makes a better looking weld. But of course, most of my stuff I finish in a full grind anyway. But the back sides of it, I was getting good penetration back there. I had the welder turned up pretty high for this. Actually had the welder set up for probably pretty much 18 gauge, and this is 20. Because every time I'd come in here to try to tack right in here or something, I'd just burn a hole through it. That's why all that looks so bad. So definitely have to change my settings for when I do part of this panel over here. This is another piece that I was working on. Again, these are 1/4 inch holes down on the bottom and 3/16 at the top. I'm limited to 3/16 on part of this pan just because of the flange on it. They kind of shortchanged me. So like right here on the flange, I've got, you know, a 3/16 hole here, and then there's some places that it'll just be stitch welded, which is will kind of be like a lap weld, I guess you could say. But and that's what I've been doing tonight. Just like I said, didn't really feel that well, but felt good enough to come out here and just play with the settings. And this is my first attempt of plug welding the 3/16 hole up, and I noticed that the metal didn't even hardly get hot. It looks like it got good penetration, but wind up this first hole here. I ended up turning the heat up quite a bit, and turned the heat up about 1/2 notch, and then I went over here and tried this one, and this one did really well. The heat came on up, and it actually turned out to be a pretty nice plug weld. But the welder did act a little funny on this one, so I just barely increased the wire speed, which you can tell it because I've got a little bit more of a little bit more metal on this one. But I bumped the wire speed up to, instead of 1.8 to 2.2. Now on these 1/4 inch holes down here, I think I've got my welder set pretty good on it. I'm actually running around, like I said, an 18 gauge steel for 20 gauge plug weld, and it's looking pretty good. So, but just practicing, just getting set up for when I go to weld this pan in. This is my welding rig right here. I don't know if I've ever showed it to you guys, but it's a 180C Lincoln, and it is the continuous feed with the continuous on the voltage too, continuous on the wire speed. But it's a real nice unit. I really like it. Just like all of them, it's got the chart inside and everything. I got a new welding helmet for Christmas. Show you guys what this welding helmet here belongs to a good friend of mine. It's a Jackson EQC Professional, and I really like this helmet. It's a rugged helmet. It's good. I like the headgear on it, but you can see the viewing area is not that large on it. But I really like it. But this is the one I got for Christmas, and I mean, it's cool looking and everything. It's got all the, I mean, you just can't beat the looks of that thing. I mean, you almost don't want to use it. but it's lightweight, and something that it's hard to do with one hand, but something that I really like about it is just with it, just look through the camera there, and you can really see even before you strike an arc. It's not really on, but I don't think that makes a big difference. Let me turn it on. Right now I've got it set up as shade 9, delay 2, and sensitivity's on 7, and I got it set on that X mode. I got to read about that. I think that's for outside use, but I've been running it in here because I got a lot of daylight fluorescent lights in here. I think these fluorescent lights I've got are around the 6500 range. But yeah, when it's on, I mean, you can just tell what a difference that makes. Now let me, on this Jackson, probably gonna get more glare from, but you can tell how darker it is, and that helps big time right when you go to strike that arc. And that is probably one of the best things I like about it, along with the larger viewing area, and just the looks of it is, like I said, that's just cool looking. One of the things that is bothering me about it, and it's probably just in my mind, the puddle is more green looking out of this helmet, and it's more of a dirty yellow with the Miller. And if I can get a buddy of mine to come up one day and bring his helmet, and one of us can work the camera, then I'll try to show you guys the difference in the puddles. She probably still this, like I said, this belongs to a buddy of mine, and it's good to have two in the shop if you got a helper. And I'll probably still use this one for when I'm under the car, somewhere where I know I may scratch, don't want to take a chance in scratching this one up or something. But I mean, it is a tool, and I'm going to use it, and that's what happens to tools. I mean, you got to enjoy stuff. If you don't, somebody else will when you're gone. So I'm going to enjoy stuff. It ain't no good just sitting around. But anyway, that's what all I've been doing. Like I said, this panel's ready to go. Trial fit one more time. Did put, I don't know if it was really necessary, but I did put a little seam sealer over my welds on the hinges here. And like I said in that previous clip, when I was working on this thing about a week ago, I had was thinking about putting some seam sealer right up in this part of the panel. But anyway, that's just a quick update on what we've got going on here in the garage, and hope to make some real progress pretty soon. Like I said, been under the weather and feeling a little bit better, and just wanted to get out here and play around with the welder a little bit, and just try to make sure I got my bases covered before I actually start welding on this panel. So hopefully I'll make some more videos. Thank all my new subscribers. And got any comments, please feel free to leave them below, and I'll try to respond. So we'll see you guys. One other thing I forgot to mention is that Miller helmet, it actually has a grind mode on it. So I'm interested in trying that out and see how that works. I've got another little welder set up over here that belongs to a friend of mine. And it's a 110 volt, and I've used it a lot. I really like it. It's mobile. It's a 130 XP made by Miller. I'll show you guys it. There it is. Wedged in a corner here. I've used it a lot. It is an awesome little machine. I got this cover over it, but it's a Miller 130 XP. I do have a Tweco, I guess I'm pronouncing that right, MIG gun on it. But it works well around the shop, especially somewhere that I can't get this 220 volt welder at. I've got probably, I don't know, a 15, 20 foot cord that I put on that, and I made it to where I got my NEMA plug right here, and then I went down to the hardware store and got that, and that's the type that's in my wall that I use. It's right there. So, anyway, that's just a little quick update. Show you the equipment we got here in the garage, and like I said, I get to feeling a little bit better. We're gonna put that panel on that car for the last time, and I mean that this time. We'll see you guys later.